Roughly 3 years ago at this point, back in the spring of 2020, anime was beginning to get its big boom due to the beginning of COVID and everyone having to enter quarantine. This led to people becoming more interested in the medium and wanting to know about the new shows coming out. One of the shows coming out that season would be Gleipnir, which would be well known for its insanity but soon be forgotten after it aired, fading into obscurity. Well, recently after catching wind that the manga was ending, I decided to pick the manga up and indulge in this story that I too had long forgotten after its airing. Gleipnir is about a boy Shuichi who has mysterious powers for an unknown reason that turns him into a furry. These powers give him a heightened sense of smell, among other things, but he desires to keep them secret due to his want to just live a normal life and stay within the lines of what's acceptable to society. One day, however, he smells a burning building and decides to investigate, and upon approaching the scene, he smells a person and without thinking rushes in to save them. The person turns out to be a girl Shuichi doesn't recognize, and he decides to leave her in front of the burning house. Oh, I forgot to mention, he almost her, but he stops himself, so good job? Either way, after saving this girl, he sees her at school the next day, stalking him. Turns out she's a crazy psycho who wants to control him and solve the mystery of her sister's disappearance, believing Shuichi is the key to helping her. From there, Shuichi and the girl named Claire basically enter a battle royale to obtain some coins that, once given to an alien who crash landed on their planet, promises to grant them any wish they want. The art of this series is the best part in my opinion. Takeda, the mangaka, has a knack for drawing ecchi scenes which often have poor timing, but nonetheless, the stuff is still good. I mean, I don't think I can really show you guys this stuff on YouTube, and I'm not about to risk it, but honestly, just open up any random chapter and you'll probably see some tits or ass. At some points though, the ecchi scenes are definitely uncalled for, but it's a seinen manga, so it's no big surprise that you're seeing this stuff. Moving past the ecchi scenes, the art of the manga in general is good, with cool fight scenes and really cool looking powers. The art for the powers, at least when it comes to the main cast, is pretty cool and all of them have menacing looking powers. However, past that, a lot of the smaller characters have some lame looking powers that are basically just them becoming titans, but oh well, the main cast still looks dope as hell. Although the manga rarely had art that made me actually stop and admire it, except for some scenes, I still enjoyed it and never really had any issues with the art. Of course, I'm not an artist though, so take my opinion with a grain of salt. The characters were something. Shuichi at the start is very much so in his 21 Pilots 2015 phase, if you know what I mean. He thinks he's different, saying that he's never truly applied himself and is happy with that fact. Like I stated previously, he just wants to live a normal, boring life. He undergoes some weird development where it seems like the manga tries to forget that this rapey, weird version of him never existed, instead of having him actually develop. Claire, however, the other protagonist of this story, stays the same almost the whole time. She is crazy, manipulative, and willing to do anything to find her sister. Claire is probably the most entertaining part of this manga because probably up until about 3/4 in, you never really know what she's gonna do next. The side cast is very weird, especially because we don't really get introduced to them until around chapter 15, and the time we spend with them is very minimal. The side cast is boring, and it sucks because they're all given cool powers, but they just seem like they're things the author realized he needed to have last minute. Also, there's a certain thing that happens when they meet this side cast that I won't spoil, but it just annoys me and seems to be forgotten for the rest of the manga. Now this is a slight spoiler, kind of not really. The antagonist is a huge simp, and I don't know, a part of me just finds that boring, especially when you learn of all the subpar twists the manga presents you with up to that point. It's disappointing when you get to him, but the manga leading up to the confrontation with the antagonist is still fun. I don't think there's any truly deep theme to him, and he's definitely not something we haven't seen before, but he still has a menacing presence and does some crazy stuff. One big thing I really wasn't a fan of in this manga was the lack of arcs. The whole manga just feels like one big arc, which is disappointing when you have a cool plot that could turn into something bigger than what it was in the end. I also feel like the story being continuous and not really having arcs makes it so that there's very little breathing room in between big moments, which to me isn't very rewarding. It ends up making the story feel cluttered and like the changes the characters go through are unwarranted. I mean, from what I gathered, this story took place over maybe a week or two, which with some of the events that happen is just absurd to me, and like a lot of moments are just undeserved. Also, the lack of breathing space made it so I never really cared about any characters, not even Shuichi or Claire. Throughout the whole manga, I was never really able to cheer for anyone. I was super biased and didn't really care about the outcome. Now, I don't want all those negatives to make it seem like I didn't enjoy this manga, because for the most part, it was pretty okay. The lack of character development and time with the characters is made up for with cool fights, and if you're able to suspend your disbelief, it's just an entertaining manga you can turn your brain off and read. Also, the fights are pretty cool. None of them are too difficult to understand and very straightforward, just you hit me, I hit you harder. I think especially when we learn about Shuichi's power and how it develops in a somewhat unique way, it's cool to think about all the possibilities that are there that aren't really explored, sadly, but still, it's fun to think about it once you see it. However, Gleipnir tries to be more complex than it really is in the end. It just feels like one big jumbled story, and how we got from A to B is very convoluted, but nonetheless, we got to B. I understand why this manga has faded into somewhat obscurity, with very few people still talking about it and no one really desiring a season 2 for the anime. It's entertaining, and I will say, don't knock it till you try it, so just give it 5 chapters or so, and if you don't enjoy the fight, then I would say drop it and find some other manga to read. Maybe one of the other manga I've talked about on my channel. But if you do enjoy the first fight that happens within those chapters, then keep going. I blew through this manga, and I think if I would have binge read it, it would have taken me maybe 4 or 5 hours. It's not a hard or long read. Overall though, Gleipnir's pretty okay, and that's my conclusion on the manga, but not this video. This is. If you guys enjoyed, then please don't forget to leave a like, and if you want to see more content like this, then subscribe. It also lets me know I should do more videos like this, and is greatly appreciated. If you have any manga that you think I should check out, then leave them in the comments, and who knows, maybe I'll make a video talking about them. Also, if you're one of the few people who have actually read Gleipnir, what are your thoughts? But for now, that's been me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.